Okay, how's it going, guys? So, just doing a little test with the Go2 today. Wanting to see if it's a viable sort of moto camera for, motorbike helmet mount, all that kind of thing. Here I am at Gwithian at the moment. That's Gadrevi Lighthouse up there, and I thought I'd just toddle along up the coast, mess around with a few different settings, and see what's what. The Go2. If I was going to choose between a Hero and a Go2, I would choose a Hero, but it does have certain uses. So mainly its weight is rather light, which obviously gives it a bit of an advantage over the GoPro, its weight and size. But is the image quality as nice? No, it's not as detailed. It's not as nice as the GoPro. But is it good enough for lots of cases? Yes, it absolutely is. So as you can see, I've got the remote for the Go2 mounted on the handlebars there, which is quite handy, so I can see that it's recording and stuff like that. So this is in Pro video mode at the moment. It's a heck of a windy today, so I'm not sure how well you can hear me. It is like crazy windy. Unfortunately, it's easterly, which is no use to man nor beast as far as kite surfing is concerned. Let's just nip through here. Well, no, easterlies are good in certain situations, but for me down here in Cornwall, easterly's not great for kite surfing. Anyway, back to the camera. So this is in Pro video mode in maximum resolution, which is basically 1440. It's slightly more complicated than that because it does actually record a big square out of camera, which looks like this. And I'm in log color mode, which out of camera looks like this right now, which gives you a little bit more dynamic range. With this very harsh sun today and these white vehicles, it's probably going to be quite apparent if I swap over to standard color mode in a minute that you lose a little bit of dynamic range. Everything looks better coming out of camera in terms of if you wanted to upload something straight to social media or something, then yeah, use standard color mode. But if you want to get the most out of the camera, you will get a little bit more dynamic range using log color. That saying, if it's a very low contrast scene, like you've just got an overcast day or you're filming in bad light, then I'd probably say don't use log color mode, because it's just there's no need, because there's not enough dynamic range in the scene anyway to warrant using log. Same as for most cameras, to be fair. Anyway, let's carry on. So yeah, so this is in 25p. The camera does go up to 50p, but the bitrate per frame is better at 25p. I tend to work in 25p most of the time because I'm in a PAL region. Certain situations you want to be making sure you're using the right frame rate for your region. In daylight like this does make a lot of difference, to be perfectly honest with you. 25 as opposed to 30 frames per second. But if you're, for instance, filming indoors with artificial lights, then you get some nasty sort of strobing and banding and things like that issues if you're using a frame rate that interferes with the local electric current rate. So it's 50 hertz in PAL regions basically. Okay, so I'll also try out a few different stabilisation modes. So the good thing about the Pro video mode is that you can choose everything in post. So right now this is, wow, it's windy. Right now this is in the level horizon mode basically, which they call, which is, I've forgotten the damn name of it. I'll put it on the screen what that's called. So this is in the level horizon mode. So no matter what I do with my head, so at the moment I'm turning my head quite a lot, left and right, it will keep the horizon mode level. But if I now swap over to FPV mode, now if I turn my head to the left, to the right, to the left, so now it will follow my head but still stabilize everything a little bit. Or you can of course turn the stabilization off, which looks like this. Now I'm just doing some random movements with my head just to show what it looks like with no stabilization. So it's pretty neat in Pro Video mode that you can choose that. You can also choose the aspect ratio. So I can render it in square, which actually gives you more of the resolution of the original from the sensor, because it's sort of using as much of the sensor as it can, the circle that it reads off of the lens, the image circle, and then putting that into a square. So technically you might get a slightly nicer image if you're using a square aspect ratio, or you can obviously use 16:9, which cuts across the middle, or you can use 9:16, which looks like this, of course. Of course, I'm running this in 4K on YouTube, so it's in 16:9, so it's a little bit confusing. Obviously you wouldn't upload a 16:9 video in 4:3 like I'm doing here if you were doing a standalone video. I'm just using it here for demonstration purposes. Anyway, so yeah, so this is in log color mode, 25p, 16:9 in the locked horizon. Anyway, let's go up to we'll go up to the end here in Godrivi. This is the Godrivi National Trust car park, and I'll pull over up here in just a second and I'll flip over into standard color mode just so you can have a look at what that looks like. Beautiful day today, but yeah, hellishly windy. I'll pull over just up here. Okay, so this is now in the standard non-pro video mode, and it's in the standard color profile in 16:9, 1440p, 1440 resolution, and in 25p, 25 frames per second. So hopefully you can see there's quite a big difference there. Of course, the other thing I didn't mention just now is that in Pro Video mode you get to choose the lens option in post. So right now I've put it to linear, which straightens out everything, and so you don't get those kind of bendy horizons. Doesn't have that sort of fisheye look. That's generally the look I prefer for most of my action camera stuff. Wow, everything's looking very pretty over there. But yeah, so I can't now change the field of view, the lens option, sorry, or the field of view in post. It is what it is coming out of camera. So this is exactly what it looks like coming out of camera. I won't do any tweaks to it or anything like that. I will flick it back over into Pro Video mode in just a second, and I'll run through the lens options for you that you have in post. I'll do that on the way back, coming back here. But anyways, yeah, so this is the standard, so in-camera stabilization and in-camera standard color, no tweaks, in linear lens mode. So it should give you a good old look what that looks like. And I thought, like I said, that the weather is very nice today, so I thought it was a good best case scenario for you to have a look around. Anyway, I'll stop recording there, and yeah, I'll speak to you in just a second. Okay, so we're back in Pro Video mode now. I'll just show you the different lens options. So this is linear, and then you have the sort of FPV, sort of widest view or extreme view, whatever they call it, action camera view. Then they have narrow view, I believe it's called, and then this one here. So that's the different lens options. Beautiful day, but yeah, just a bit too windy for my liking. You don't often hear a kite surfer saying that, but it's the wrong damn direction. Anyway, let's head back along the coast, and then I'll give you my sort of summary from as using the Go2 for a sort of vlogging type setup. Too windy for the drone. Wrong direction for kite surfing. Yeah, pain. Okay, so what do I think? I think it has pros and cons. Again, like I've said before about this camera, it has some limitations. It doesn't like high frequency vibrations, so you can get good shots with it on a drone, but you really do have to use heavy NDs. But you do get sort of quite a lot of rolling shutter jello effect, and that includes if you put it on something hard like a bike frame or something and the bike's getting some nice nasty jarring, you'll get these horrible sort of jello effects. Hope you can hear me because it's so windy. So yeah, but in this situation, when it comes to motovlogging for short little clips, I think it has quite a few benefits. I don't feel the weight on my camera at all. You can see how I've got it mounted there in the mirror, hopefully, and you just really don't feel it. It's just a very tight little neat package, so that is a big plus. Having the remote control, which is basically an additional kind of thing that you don't get with a GoPro, as part of the package, is pretty nifty. Like, it's really nice that I can flip this up as I'm riding along. It connects, and I know it's going to be really hard for you guys to see that, but on there I can see that it's still recording and see how many minutes it's got. I can see the battery life. It's not the brightest screen, like I have to squint at it in sunlight, but I can use it, and it's certainly better than taking my helmet off and then looking, double checking the front of a GoPro to make sure that's also recording. Obviously a GoPro you can get a remote control as well, or you can hook it up to your phone, but I quite like this little option because it's a free option. It just comes with it, that is your main control for the camera. There is a record button on the camera, which as I've said before, is too easy to set off by accident. Like, even just getting it into the mount today, I think I set the record off twice, just getting that. So you end up with all these clips that you don't want, and if you accidentally do that in your pocket and leave it recording, then that's your battery gone and your the memory, the built-in memory card filled up straight away. So it has issues, but as long as you're aware of those issues when you buy it. So anyway, so we're back in pro video mode now. So I'll just flick through those lens options for you again. So this is the linear, which is what I prefer. Let's flick back over to the I think it's like the FPV wide cam they call it. Obviously I'm talking before I get home to look at the app, so I can't remember all the what it's called, but it's basically they try to recreate a kind of the widest view possibly view, and then you get a narrow, and then you have your linear, and I think that's the three options. So I'm going to write all over the screen and correct myself if I'm wrong. That's what they look like. Again, this is in log color mode, so this is what it looks like coming out of camera. Well, technically this is what it looks like coming out of camera in the big old image circle. Now this is what it looks like after the stabilisation and in the 16:9, and this is what it looks like after I've color corrected the flat log color. So if you're new to log, don't be afraid of it. It just gives you more flexibility in post. Obviously, if you've got no editing skills, no grading skills, no color correction skills whatsoever, don't touch log. It just isn't worth it. But for any of you that knows how to use Premiere or Final Cut or anything like that, then it will make sense for you to use log, which you'll get a little bit more dynamic range out of it. So in those situations where you've got really, really high contrast shots, scenes, it's just going to look a little bit less crunchy, and also give you more flexibility in post for bringing things up and bringing things down, and choosing how saturated you actually want the final thing to be, and things like that. Anyway, I think I've waffled enough. I thought this would be a little demo of the Go2's ability as a MotoVlogging camera. Again, if I had the choice, I'd probably choose the GoPro every time. It is superior in many ways that are important to me, robustness and image quality and all the rest of it. But this isn't a bad option. I don't want to slag it off, because it definitely has its place in the market. I do think it should be a bit cheaper. I think it should be around about the sort of, I don't know, £200 mark, something like that. I don't really think it's worth £300 considering the, you know, resolution, image quality and all the other issues. But no doubt that price will drop and you'll be able to get bargains pretty soon. Anyway, I'm going to sign off there, guys, and I hope this was vaguely useful for some of you. I know it's a little bit esoteric, but either way, sign off, and I'm going to stop recording with my magic button. There we go.